Now at 10 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a Victoria ISD student was physically attacked and the mother is now speaking out.
A suspect is charged with human smuggling after a migrant bailout in Victoria County Sunday.
And 3 more candidates into the race for mayor of Victoria. We have details tonight.
We had some good sunshine today, got us up to about 75 degrees, and we're going to stay on the mild side of things all the way through this week. But next weekend, yeah, the cold weather comes back, so we'll be talking about that tonight.
We've got Edna preparing to take on the 2-time defending state champions. Hear from them in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now after Monday Night Football. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Family members of a 50-year-old Port Lavaca man are waiting for news after he went missing this weekend on a shrimp boat in the Gulf of Mexico near New Orleans. Felipe Lozano was working on a commercial fishing boat. The captain reported the incident around 2 a.m. Saturday. It happened near Port Fourchon, where the Coast Guard is searching that area.
A 4th candidate has joined the race for mayor of Victoria. Dwayne Crocker, a current city council member, has officially joined the mayor race. Crocker once ran for mayor of Victoria but was unsuccessful. Today is the final day to enter the race, as the mayor's special election is scheduled for February 3rd of this coming year.
The first candidate to enter the race for mayor of Victoria was District 2 council member Josephine Solis. The second was Carissa Winters. She listed her occupation as community leader. Robert Bob Constantine entered the race Saturday. He listed his occupation as chief operations officer on his ballot application. 3 candidates entered the race Monday. City Council member Dwayne Crocker filed his paperwork Monday morning. 2 more Victoria mayoral candidates entered the race Monday afternoon. Jacob Sarceda is a technical director for the Victoria Television Group. The city secretary said Sarceda does still qualify, but cannot spend or accept money for his campaign until he files the appointment of a campaign treasurer form. Peter Brown also threw his name in the ring. He listed his occupation as project manager on his application.
And with that, here is your viewer poll tonight. You can participate by scanning that QR code on your screen. The question is, are you satisfied with the mayoral candidates? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 19% stand at yes and 81% stand at no. Thank you for voting tonight. Now, Victoria County Sheriff's deputies arrested a suspect after Sunday's migrant bailout on FM 236 near Winter Lane. 36-year-old Rodrigo Flores of Fresno is charged with human smuggling. He is in the Victoria County Jail. No bond has been set yet. Now, an incident at Cade Middle School left 1 student in the local hospital.
The student's mother is upset with the Victoria ISD's response to the violence. 25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick spoke with the mother about the district's response.
On October 31st, 1 student was attacked by 4 other students at Cade Middle School. The student's mother, who we'll call Jane, rushed the student to the local emergency room. We're protecting her identity to protect her son.
So I had no idea what was going on other than he was hurt. So I got there and the assistant principal walked him to me without saying other than there was an incident that had happened.
His visit after the incident showed injuries to his head, ear, mouth, chest, back, and right thumb. After the VISD conducted an investigation on the incident, Jane's son received punishment too.
The school had to reach out to the assistant superintendent to schedule a meeting because they didn't know what to do. At the end of that meeting, my son ended up receiving punishment.
She wants the VISD to know this incident should not be repeated with any other student.
That this could have been so much worse, that they were not prepared for this event to happen. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to tell me.
The VISD says they cannot comment on this situation due to privacy and confidentiality concerns. Reporting in Victoria, I'm Darius McCormick, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
Leaders of Victoria Regional Airport say for the first time in about a decade, the goal of 10,000 planes departing in a year from the airport was reached in November. This makes Victoria Regional eligible for an additional $1 million from the FAA. That money would go to improvements and new developments at the airport. County leaders say improvement plans for Victoria Regional in the coming years include new and improved runways and a new terminal building, along with an emergency response complex. Well, let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. And Mac, I gotta tell you, it's December, I know, but it feels so much like maybe a month or so ago. It should be like a November winter.
It should be like this for October, November, maybe a little September. No, it was good. In fact, we were slightly above our seasonal average, but we've got high pressure building into the state, and as a result, all these storms that are around are going to be kept away from us. We've got about a streak of about 4 or 5 very nice days coming up. So if you haven't finished putting up your decorations, this is the week to do it. We'll have more on that coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. Tonight in Gaza, Israel with a fierce aerial assault in the southern region, just as it did in the north.
Yeah, new satellite images obtained by the New York Times show Israeli military vehicles staging in the south, signaling the deadly ground invasion has begun.
Tonight, civilians caught in the crossfire, with Israel expanding its ground war, pushing deeper into southern Gaza. Palestinians ducking for cover, a family, including that young boy, running for their lives. As bullets pierce the air around them. This was supposed to be an evacuation route. As new satellite images show Israeli military vehicles staging in the south, a sign that their ground invasion into southern Gaza has officially begun. We watched as the IDF pounded Gaza today.
Well, we're witnessing a really heavy and constant bombardment into the Gaza Strip. You can see smoke in the distance, airstrikes, artillery.
Hospitals overwhelmed, children treated on the ground outside. Ibrahim rushing his injured 2-month-old son Adnan into the ER, saying his family fled south just like they were asked, only to dodge more bombs. What can we do, he asks. Every day we die 1 million deaths. Tonight, an Israeli military official saying its forces are now moving to encircle the key southern city of Khan Yunis. And after weeks of telling people to move south where they were told they would be safe, Israel now insisting they are warning people already there, dropping these leaflets with links to maps, urging people to move to designated safe zones. Our producer Sami Zara forced to move his family for the 17th time since the war began.
We don't know what to do. There is no safe place at all in Gaza.
We pressed the IDF today on the level of suffering.
UNICEF says that even in some of those designated safe zones, children are getting hit and badly injured and killed.
We want civilians not to be in the area where we're fighting. We want to focus our firepower on Hamas and Hamas only.
And at the United Nations today, Israel presenting evidence they say proves Hamas militants committed crimes of sexual violence as a weapon of war on October 7th. Yoni Sardon survived the festival massacre, telling a British newspaper he saw, quote, a beautiful woman with the face of an angel and 8 or 10 of the fighters beating and raping her.
Their goal is to annihilate it. We have no other choice but to eliminate Hamas thoroughly.
Well, given the scale of fighting and intense bombardment of Gaza today, the fate of the remaining hostages held in Gaza is really uncertain. Negotiations for their release have halted. The hostages' families due to meet Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu tomorrow. Tom Sufi-Burridge, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
Back in Texas, a suspect is dead after San Antonio police say he tried to rob a grocery store. The incident happened Monday at an H-E-B store. Authorities say a man in his 40s tried to rob the store and then ran away. 2 security guards chased him down in the parking lot, but were shot as the man ran behind a vehicle. The guards returned fire, ultimately killing the suspect. H-E-B says the security guards were not H-E-B employees, but rather worked for a private security company. The store will remain closed until Tuesday morning while police continue investigating. A search is underway for a suspect after 4 people were killed in a shooting in Dallas Sunday afternoon. Police say officers found 5 people who were shot when they arrived at the scene. Police say 3 adults died at the scene. A 15-year-old girl and a 1-year-old boy were taken to the hospital where the toddler died from his injuries. The teen is said to be in stable condition and police are searching for the suspect but say there is no threat to the public.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton today got an administrative stay that will keep the federal government from destroying Texas razor wire fencing along the border. The Fifth Circuit barred federal immigration officials from damaging Texas wire fences while the Justice Department prepares a response to Texas' motion for an injunction. Last Friday, a federal district court judge denied the state's effort to keep the federal government from destroying the razor wire at the border. The Dallas County Sheriff's Office responded to a major accident on northbound Interstate 35 at Victory Avenue where a Sherwin-Williams truck was hanging off the bridge. KTVT reports the Sheriff's Office says it's unclear what led to the crash, but the Dallas Fire Rescue pulled the driver from the vehicle. His injuries are unknown at this time. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. In Los Angeles, a man suspected of murdering the homeless appears in court. That's coming up on 25 News Now at 10.
Also ahead, a Texas veteran finally receives his Purple Heart after more than 5 decades. The man suspected of killing 3 homeless men in Los Angeles and another victim appeared before a judge today. Prosecutors charged Jared Joseph Powell with 4 counts of murder. He also faces 1 count of residential robbery and 1 count of being a felon with a firearm. Powell was initially arrested last week as a suspect in a deadly shooting during a robbery at a home in the community east of Los Angeles. Then he was identified as a suspect in the killings of 3 homeless men when a firearm found in his vehicle was linked to those shootings. Authorities say a motive for the killings of the homeless victims is still unknown.
1 person is dead after a shark attack in the Bahamas. The victim was an American woman from Boston who was paddle boating in the Bahamas Monday. The shark bit the woman in her right side of her body, including her right hip and also her right arm. A lifeguard jumped into action to save the woman, but the injuries were ultimately too severe. Shark attacks are not common in the Bahamas, but 2 others have recently been reported, including one in September of last year and more recently just a few weeks ago on November 21st.
A Vietnam veteran from Texas recently received an honor that was more than 5 decades overdue.
He suffered serious injuries in 1967 when enemy fighters ambushed his platoon in South Vietnam. And now the military has honored him with a Purple Heart.
As soon as I got that letter and I started reading it, I was ecstatic. 56 years after being ambushed and wounded while carrying out a search and destroy mission in South Vietnam, Army medic Saturino Carpio has finally been awarded the Purple Heart.
8 of us got hit by a Claymore mine. 2 of us got hit pretty seriously, and we're the ones that got sent back home. The rest of them were sent back to their unit. It's been a long time. Apparently this medal never caught up with me on the way.
Surrounded by family and friends,
A couple of them got on me for not telling them anything. Like, Dad, how come we don't know all this?
Carpio says he's grateful for those that helped him along the way, like retired veteran service officer Johnny Yepis and veterans advocate Mike Sutherland.
We started working on this case when I was still working at the county. And then after I left the county, we still continued to go forward and trying to get the mission accomplished. And then finally he received it, and I'm very ecstatic. I'm very happy for him.
I don't want to say boost your ego, but it helps you mentally overcome a lot of that stuff that you have to deal with. It's because people, they know people are watching them and are thankful for what they've done for the nation.
Carpio says while 56 years is a long time to wait for anything, he came close to losing hope, but is so thankful he didn't.
That's quite a few times, quite a few. Or, you know, you're like, you know, you kind of give up, but then, you know, just sat back and waited. And, you know, once I sent off that letter from Waco, I said, well, if I don't get it now, that's going to be it. But I got it, thank God.
Port Lavaca's annual Christmas Festival of Lights Parade will be this Saturday night. The parade will start at 6:30 p.m. at the Bayfront Peninsula Park and will end at Sand Crab Stadium. The parade had been postponed due to a Calhoun football playoff game. And now here's Mac.
Thank you, and by the time we get to that parade, you're going to have to bundle up. I know it was nice today. Right now, we're at 47. We managed to get up to 74 today, which is above our seasonal average of 69. We're going to be in the mid-70s for most of the week, but there's some cold air on the horizon, so we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Last week was November the 30th and the end of the hurricane season. These in yellow are the ones that we had this year all the way to Tammy. We did not use Vince and Whitney, so it was a very active year. Just for fun, I predicted in June the 1st, exactly when the beginning of it. Colorado State went for 13 named storms. National Hurricane Center went for 15. United Kingdom went for 20. I went for 22. The season average is 14, and we actually had 19 total. So based on the warmth of the Atlantic, ta-da. Anyway, we had a good day today. It was lots of sunny skies and just a few high clouds sort of drifting up over us. For the next few days, if you have anything planned outdoors, it's a good time. High pressure is building in over the state of Texas. This storm is going to be riding generally east. All we have to do is wait and watch to see what happens with this one. This is a big Pacific storm, and when you see the lines this close together, the isobars, that means there's probably 50, 70-mile-an-hour winds blowing out there in the water. That's going to produce a lot of rain and snow for the Northwest, the Rockies, and then when it breaks into the plains, well, it's going to be very interesting. That's about 7 days from about now. But as I mentioned, high pressure is going to be over us. That's going to give us the abundant sunshine for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, things get interesting because that's when we have the tail end of that front running through here. At this point in time, it is going to give us a little bit of chilly weather, but I don't think we're going to get much in terms of rain when that frontal system passes. Right now, we're looking for a low tonight. We're already at 49, so 47, 48 will be our low temperature. Tomorrow, a pretty good looking day. If you have work outdoors, 73, and we'll stay in the 70s all the way through Friday. It's Saturday when things get a little complicated as that frontal system moves through. If you do get a chance to go out fishing, just know that the good winds have settled down, and that's good. That brings the seas down to 2 feet. Bays are smooth. Look at this. Sunrise is at 7 o'clock. And sunset is at 5:30. And December the 22nd will be the shortest day of the year. For those of you in Port Lavaca, 51 in the morning, getting up to 70 in the afternoon, and a little bit of cloud cover down there. More sunshine in Cuero with a low of 47 and a high of 72. For the rest of us, the mild, well, we'll call it sunny mild days, all right? Everybody in the 70s, but cool nights dropping down to about 50 all the way through Friday. Everything's good. Saturday starts off right. Middle of the day, the frontal system comes through, and then north winds blow. The high on Sunday, 61 as opposed to 76, and the low temperatures getting down to the low 40s, maybe even upper 30s as we get into Sunday and Monday of next week. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Zach Attack with sports.
Well, the Atlanta Cowboys looking to punch their ticket to a state championship game here from the Big Blue coming up in sports. We have 3 teams competing in the state semifinals this week. This is Edna's second consecutive year going. Was able to catch up with the guys as they get ready for their rematch against the Franklin Lions, who ended their season last year. Last year, Edna's year ended in heartbreak in the state semifinal. So close, but the eventual state champion Franklin Lions stood in their way. Now, the more experienced Cowboys ready to saddle up as they hope they can return the favor this year.
You always have a chip on your shoulder losing to a team like that, especially a good team, knowing you have a good team. So, yeah, we worked all off season. And looking back at last year's team, I mean, that was a real good team, but we were inexperienced, and it really showed in the semifinal game.
It's something we've been working for a whole year, you know, to get back to this. Not so much just Franklin, just to get back here and have an opportunity to win this game and you know, get to the state championship has been our motivation.
The Cowboys saved their best ball for the most important part of the year, winning in dominant fashion over Blanco in the regional round. But Edna, playing the 2-time defending state champs, still not satisfied.
I feel like there's always room for improvements. Last week we played a phenomenal game against a good program, and we executed everything perfectly, and we've been looking for a good game like that, firing on all cylinders all year, and then I think it's our time.
If it is indeed the Cowboys' time to go to the promised land, they know better than anyone they must clean up this time around. Edna feels like they shot themselves in the foot last year, leading to their season's end. They also have deep playoff experience under their belt this time around.
Like, we just know that we hurt ourselves more than they hurt us, so I think we can go in there and do it. I think that we have a lot more experience this year, just going there and doing it. And I think we're all used to the playoffs now, and no one's really nervous before games, and we know our game plan and all that before the game. So. Well, we had a lot of self-inflicted wounds in that first half. You know, we were winning after the first quarter, and then we jumped off sides, I think 3 times, 4th and 1 inside their 20. They killed drives, missed a field goal. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot.
An emotional Edna team that had so much promise fell just short because of these mistakes, a feeling that stuck with the Big Blue for the past year.
I don't know if everybody felt the way I felt after that game. I mean, emotions were flying, but I mean, it just makes you fight more. It makes you want everybody around you to succeed more, and that's my feelings going into the game.
I definitely want to get back at them, and I definitely don't want to repeat it last year. Last year after that game, it was a different kind of pain. I mean, we was 1 step away from state, and everything was just stripped from us, and it's personal.
It's personal. That will lead us to your viewer poll. Is this the year Edna makes it to a state championship? 81% say yes, 19% say no. Edna certainly playing their best ball of the year. Got to look at Franklin last year, so they're familiar with the Lions. Should be a fun one in the Houston area. And we also now know the Heisman finalists for the 2023 season. Only one of them are still playing. We have wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who was C.J. Stroud's favorite target when he was at Ohio State. LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, quarterback of Oregon in Bo Nix, who just lost to Washington, who has the only Heisman finalist that is still playing, and that is quarterback Michael Penix. There have only been 3 receivers to ever win the Heisman Trophy. The last time was back in 1991 when Michigan's Desmond Howard won it. Also, with the Jaguars' loss today, the Houston Texans only 1 game back of the AFC South, and I did tell you guys they would win it. Well, only time will tell. That's it for your sports. Donna and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Now stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, Ape Art is hitting the shelves soon, and we have the sneak peek.
Airbnb wants to host one family in the North Pole. Well, maybe about as close as you can get. The company is giving away 3 nights at a cabin decked out in Christmas decor in northern Finland. And just take a look at this winter wonderland dubbed Santa's Cabin. The town has what it calls the official Santa Claus post office. And the winners can volunteer to help sort through thousands of letters there. They'll even be supplied with elf attire to help get into the spirit, Will Ferrell not included.
Well, also in the Christmas spirit, one street in Madison, Wisconsin is blowing up. About a dozen or so neighbors on Monroe Street decorated their lawn with the exact same 12-foot blow-up Santa. The idea was sparked when a group of neighbors were watching Hallmark Christmas movies, like we all do, of course, right? And it took off from there, and social media posts blew it up, as social media does.
Oh, you bet my wife. Yes, oh yeah, she watches them all the time. And the reason I was skeptical about the Santa, because we've been to North Pole, Alaska, the home of, they have this huge, the biggest sculpture of Santa in the world, and we met with Santa, and they said they are the official home for dear
Is it as merry as it is, as you would imagine?
Oh yeah, it's huge.
So we're having a problem with Finland here.
We even found a Cowboys Christmas tree ornament.
I like that.
In the Edna Cowboys?
Up there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Edna Cowboys?
No, the ones, the NFL ones. You
with
may
the
have heard.
star? Those guys?
Yeah.
Don't like those guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving right along to the weather, and boy, we're going. It's not winter yet,
but you know it'll be here sooner or later. But we are going late into the season with this mild weather. The whole first week of December is going to be slightly above normal, probably 5 to 8 degrees. As you can see, we'll be in the mid 70s all the way through Friday. And then Saturday, we have that front. It doesn't look like a big rainmaker, but it will give us a strong north wind and will give us a chill as we get into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Highs only in the low 60s and 40s at night. So keep the jacket handy, at least know where it is, because you may not need it this week, but it'll come in handy over the weekend.
All right. Very good, Mike. Thank you. And finally tonight, some up-and-coming artists are making their debut during Miami Art Week, and the art world is going ape. It's the first ever art exhibit by chimpanzees in collaboration with the legendary band, the B-52s. The art collection entitled Wild Planet pairs the band with 16 chimpanzees who have developed a knack for painting. The ape artists are inhabitants of the Save the Chimps Sanctuary in Fort Pierce, Florida.
The B-52s are as much visual artists as they are musical artists, and their album covers are so iconic. So the process for this art project was the B-52s painted the base colors of their album covers and then gave the chimps corresponding color combos to use to finish the pieces.
And the prices range from $1,000 to $5,000, with 100% of the proceeds going to Save the Chimps Sanctuary. And we have Zach over here telling us that he can do better.
Yeah, well,
I think I can. He's just covering the whole board. I mean, I don't know what that is.
No,
he's
it's
got a talent.
abstract art.
He's got a skill. Look
Abstract art.
Abstract
Is that what we're going
art.
with?
Let me tell you, he's doing better than I could do. I have to admit.
Well, I don't want to see what you're painting if you can't do as good as that, Mac.
Oh my goodness.
Side of a house. That's about it.
All righty. Well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astorine meteorologist Parker Cox, 25 News Now Sun, starting at 5 a.m. Good night.